Hey everyone, welcome to the Wisconsin Whistle. I'm your host, Dan Dyhard, Vachalek. We got March Madness starting tomorrow. Well, technically it started yesterday with the first four games, two going on yesterday, two tonight. But the actual big bracket where everyone fills out, enters pools, etc., that starts tomorrow, I believe 11 o'clock or 11:15 Central Time. So we'll be discussing that on today's show. I have my bracket right here. I might go over some of that. The Brewers announced that Joey Ortiz is going to be the starting third baseman. He'll shift from shortstop. The Packers signed a wide receiver, McCall Hardman. So I'll kind of briefly discuss that a little bit, but they've been very quiet, which has been unfortunate. Really was looking forward to them doing some moves. Bucks lost again last night after losing to the Thunder. The Thunder, that's one thing. Losing to the Warriors without Steph, that's another. Marquette will play on. Sorry, Marquette plays Friday. Wisconsin's tomorrow, so I'll dive into those two teams a little bit as well and see how they're looking. And the UW Green Bay women's basketball team made the tournament as well on that side. So I filled out a women's bracket this year. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe some years ago for fun, and I got UW Green Bay winning a couple games. So we'll talk about all that and more. Thank you for listening. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Wisconsin Whistle. Again, I'm your host, Dan Vachalek, a.k.a. Dyhard. We have big March Madness going on tomorrow, starting tomorrow. And Marquette, they got the 7th seed. They're going to be playing Friday at 6:30 p.m. against New Mexico, the 10th seed. Just off the bat, I'll say I think that's a winnable game for them. I have no – besides what I researched today a little bit, I don't know much about New Mexico. Other than they're 28-7, and they play two totally different styles. They play different teams. I think Marquette wins this game, especially with how Marquette has played this year. I think Marquette has the potential to go far, but it's going to be tough. They're in a tough draw. Their side of the bracket includes Iowa State, Michigan State, North Carolina, which is worthy to mention because there was a bunch of news about how North Carolina shouldn't even have been entered in, and the athletic director, I believe it's the athletic director at UNC, is actually on the committee chair, and he's the guy that helps make brackets, and it came out that he got a huge bonus, $400,000 or something dollar bonus for UNC making the tournament. So there was a lot of talk since Sunday, and they came out and absolutely destroyed San Diego State. I know a guy, Taryn, he does our SoCal show. He also does Set Point. I know he made mention. I didn't watch the game. Me and my wife decided to watch a movie last night. Movie was all right. But I didn't watch the game, but he made mention about San Diego State's very young. I can imagine that, especially after last year. I believe they were quite older. But North Carolina took it straight to them and absolutely destroyed them. So they're going to play Ole Miss, and that'll definitely be a game to watch. Michigan, Texas A&M are other two teams. Creighton and Louisville, and then Auburn is in there as well. Louisville and Creighton. Louisville actually has an ex-Badger on there. Creighton is in Marquette's conference already, so they're familiar. They've played them tough. So they drew a tough bracket. If Marquette wins, they would play the winner of Michigan State and Bryant. If Bryant wins, I'll do my show shirtless because there's no way Bryant's going to win this game. But so I have them playing Michigan State, and I don't think Marquette's going to beat Michigan State. Tom Izzo in the March Madness tournament, that's a different animal. I believe it was a couple of years ago, not last year, where they got destroyed by Michigan State. Kolek kept turning it over. And speaking of Wisconsin, they play tomorrow at 12:30. They're one of the first games playing, so they luckily won't have too many games going with them, which is nice. They might have, they'll have a couple in between, but they play Montana, number 14 seed. Now, I know nothing. I know nothing. I actually didn't even research them today, so I have no clue about Montana. I'll just keep it honest with you. Montana was 25-9, but they're a 14 seed. I see no way that they're going to beat Wisconsin unless Wisconsin shoots like they did against Michigan, which we'll get into a little bit as well. But Wisconsin is a very fast-paced team. They're good. They can shoot. They shoot a lot of threes. They're very good at the line. They get to the line. Winters and, they've been rebounding. They've been doing well. Wisconsin has played really well. They ended up beating Michigan State and getting to face Michigan. It was a tough game after 4 straight days. So I understand because Michigan also went through the same thing, and the shooting in that game was awful. If you looked at the score, it was a good game, but watching it, no. But they have an all right bracket to the Final Four at least. Duke is notable. Baylor, just because they've been good recently. Oregon, Arizona, BYU, and VCU. VCU was interesting. Actually, they were on before Wisconsin, so I saw a little bit of their game. They have a good squad. I like them. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. I mentioned Vanderbilt because the SEC has been very tough this year. And then Alabama is playing Robert Morris. I thought that Robert Morris was the one in Chicago. Fun fact, I actually got not a full ride, but a partial scholarship to that school in Chicago for bowling. That's how, I'm good at bowling. But didn't end up going because tuition's like $45,000 a year out of state, which was ridiculous. But actually, this Robert Morris is out of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania area. So in that bracket, though, notables to watch is Alabama, Duke, Arizona. In my opinion, Oregon also has a potential. They've kind of turned it around in the second half, especially getting to watch them in the Big Ten action against Wisconsin as well. Oregon definitely has the ability to turn it up. Can't forget Liberty. Honestly, that's about it. In my bracket, I was going to try to, I don't know. Can you see it? I have Wisconsin. This is my bracket. I'll just show it. Here you go. I have Auburn winning it all. I know. Went the favorites, but, I have Wisconsin getting to the Final Four, though. I really think that they can. I've said it last week. I've said it weeks before. I really think Wisconsin is a very good team. They're not going to be playing like they were in the Big Ten tournament and, every day. So they're going to get some breaks, at least a day break, and then they get a week break, or not really a week, but like 3-4 days. And then they keep going and stuff. So I really think Wisconsin, this is crunch time. I think they're going to do well. And I really think that they can reach the Final Four and have a chance to beat Houston. I just think Houston's super, super good this year. And I think Auburn is actually the top team in the nation this year. So that's why I went with them over Houston. But I think Wisconsin against Houston is going to be a fantastic game when they get there. And that's how confident I am, because I said when, not if. You got to have confidence in your bracket. This bracket right here is perfect. It's perfect. That's how my thought process is. And, you got to believe it. So you're listening to the Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to take a quick break, get into our sponsors, and then we'll jump right into some action on March Madness.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, everyone. That was just a message from our sponsors, as well as this sponsor right here, Raw Nutrition Supplements at getrawnutrition.com. You can use promo code IESR for 10% off. Anything you need, especially if you like to work out, go to the gym, definitely check them out. They got a lot of good nutrients, got a lot of good substances that you can use that are pretty much all natural. And they're very healthy, and I definitely would recommend them. So check them out right there. Again, use promo code IESR for 10% off at getrawnutrition.com. So, again, we're going to jump back into the bracket a little bit. Marquette did that in the season very hot. They lost to UConn by 6, lost to St. John's in overtime, and then beat Xavier by 2 points. That game was very rocky, I'd say. I watched that game from start to finish. That beginning half, that first half, it didn't look good. Marquette couldn't shoot the ball. Just didn't look good at all. It was tough to watch, and then they were down by 10 points at halftime, 46-36. Cam Jones did surpass 2,000 points in that game, so congratulations out to him. But they were actually down by 14 at one point, and they came all the way back. Joplin had a three-pointer with about 30 seconds left. Cam Jones also had a layup with about a minute and 15 left that actually pushed the Golden Eagles above 81-80. And then Joplin's three-pointer again with 30 seconds left pretty much pushed them on. They overcame Ryan Conwell of Xavier, scoring a career-high 38 points and a score record for a Big East tournament game. So they definitely, they came to play. Xavier was 11 of 23 on threes, at almost 50%. Cam Jones had a strong game. He actually had double figures for the 48th straight game, which is the longest current streak in the country. Xavier had a tough game right the day before that as well to get to face Marquette. And, Marquette just didn't shoot the ball well. I didn't think that they shot the ball well until the second half. They really turned it around, scored 53 points in the second half. If you look at the stats of the game, 48.5% by Marquette, 42.4% from three by Marquette. That really didn't tell most of the story of the game. The reason that it doesn't tell most of the story is because in the second half, that really jumped it up. Cam Jones was all right until really the second half. Same with pretty much everybody. It was just kind of, Parham did do a little bit in the first half, but just watching the first half, it was like, wow, oh my God, Marquette's going to be one and done out of the Big East tournament. They're really falling. And I think the reason that they did fall down to the 7th seed is not only they have 10 losses, but because they couldn't beat St. John's, they couldn't beat UConn. And when you do that, you can't beat the top teams in your conference. That's a problem, and that's going to really, really play a factor in seeding. That's going to play a factor when you look at it. Usually they say, well, a team really isn't going to beat another team 3 times in a year. Well, St. John's definitely proved that wrong. I mean, they absolutely crushed Marquette in that second game. Marquette kept it close in the first half. I was shocked. I was actually shocked that it was, Marquette was winning up by 2. I thought they were going to come into the game who, they've struggled against them. They're actually 1-6 against them at the Big East. It says Cam Jones had 24 points, 5th seeded Golden Eagles, who lost all 3 matchups with the Red Storm this season and fell to 1-6 against them at the Big East tournament. So that's why I read that from ESPN, is because that's notable. You can't beat St. John's. You didn't beat them at all this season. You struggle against them in the tournament as well. But Rick Pitino really has some stuff going for St. John's. I think that they're going to do well. I think they're going to play well. I'm going to say that because my bracket, wow, it's backwards to me at least. But I have Arkansas actually beating St. John's in the second round. But my surprise is Drake, since we're right there. My surprise is Drake. I have them going to the Elite Eight. Another surprise, McNeese. Outside of that, I'd probably regret it a little bit, but oh well. Didn't really pick many upsets. That's okay. We're going to roll the dice. I usually don't do well on brackets anyway, so I'm confident in mine. This is perfect. As of right now, it actually is perfect. We'll see how it is after tomorrow. But against St. John's with Marquette, back to that, you have Ejiofor scoring 33 points, which again is a St. John's record, so we're allowing records left and right on defense. The Big East Player of the Year only had 13 points. They just fell apart in the second half. Accidentally fell apart. They don't really have a consistent low guy, down low player, and that's the problem. I'm not sure what New Mexico has. I have no idea. So far, let's see. Actually, who the hell is on your roster? But, I'm not sure if they have a dominant big man. It says Nelly Jr. Joseph is a center, 6'10", and that's the only center on the team. They have a forward, Atiki Ali Atiki. Okay. 6'10", but he's listed as a forward. Philip Borovikainen is 6'9". Jesus. Okay, so they also have a guy from Finland, Tanzania, Serbia, Nigeria, Canada, Guinea. I don't know if that's new. It just says Conakry, Guinea. Ibrahima Sako, 6'6", forward out of Conakry, Guinea. Conakry. I don't know. But that's their team. So, I don't know. Nelly Jr. Joseph averages 11.2 rebounds per game, 14 points a game. Yeah, they're going to struggle against him. He might go for 20, 30, almost 30 points. Get a lot of boards, because when you look at Marquette, it basically is Ben Gold. That's the guy down low, is Ben Gold, and after that, Joplin. And the sad thing about it is, if you look at Marquette's roster, they don't even have a center listed on their roster. Their rebound totals this year on average is 34.2 per game. New Mexico is 39. I have way too many. I have 1,000 tabs open. Marquette actually scores less per game. And the other note is Nelly Jr. Joseph for New Mexico has 1.5 blocks per game, 64.5% from the line, which isn't awful, especially, big center and stuff. But Marquette has David Joplin at 5.5 per game, Cam Jones at 4.5, and Ben Gold at 4.2. And Stevie Mitchell is 4.1. Those are the only four players that are above 4 rebounds per game. New Mexico has 3 players above 4, with True Washington at 3.9, Philip Borovikainen at 4.5, and Mustafa Amzil at 5.4. Jeez. So, this game is just going to be a lot of pronunciation. I'll learn a lot of pronunciation out of Amzil, Borovikainen, and Atiki. I think it's Atiki. Milicevic, Sacco, Applehands. He doesn't really. Yeah, he plays 10.5 minutes. But I think Marquette can handle them. Marquette has a lot of experience. They've played Creighton, UConn, St. John's, Xavier. Trying to see who else from the Big East made it real quick. Xavier's in the play-in game. And who else made it from the Big East? That's about it. Now, one thing I do want to note, and I'll kind of separate, I'll kind of jump around. That's all right. We could jump around. This is my show, right? And who cares if I jump around? As long as I stay somewhat on topic, we're good, aren't we? Anyway, why are 11 seeds in a play-in game? I don't understand that. An 11 seed could have a play-in game on Tuesday or Wednesday, then play Thursday or Friday. Tuesdays on Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. But they can go far. It's not hard for an 11 seed to upset it's not hard for Texas or Xavier to upset a 6 Illinois. It's not hard for UNC to upset a 6 Ole Miss. That's not difficult. That happens. A lot of 11 seeds, 12 seeds, 13 seeds, they win. They have upset games, even 14s. A 16 seed is a lot harder to upset, to pull it off, upset off, unless you're playing Purdue. And I don't even have Purdue winning the game this year either. I have High Point beating them, which I guess High Point, I don't know, from what I saw, they accept anyone and everyone. Actually, Pat McAfee show was talking about that on they were talking about High Point. They did some research. They have like an 80% acceptance rate. They don't require any ACT or SAT standings. And, tuition is a little high, but they have turnover, but they pretty much accept anyone, and I have them beating Purdue because that's just how bad Purdue has been in recent years in the March Madness tournament. When it comes to March, Purdue just can't do it. So I think High Point wins. I think McNeese State. I don't even know where they are. I've heard of them. That's about it. Well, I think they're going to upset Clemson as well. Drake, 30-3 this year. That's why they're such a big upset for me. I mean, you go 30-3. Duke went 31-3. Houston was 30-4. Florida was 30-4. But 30-3, I mean, you're right up there with them. St. John's was 30-4 as well. Yeah, and that's about the top of the line right there. But if you play that well, I gotta keep advancing you. You won 30 games, you lost 3. Clearly, you know what you're doing. I don't care what your competition is, unless you're playing like, I don't know, Grand Valley Avenue Community College and, just playing nobodies and stuff. But Drake's not playing nobody. So, Drake's pretty impressive to go to 30-3. But anyway, back to that point with the 11 seeds, though, like Texas and Xavier, those are 2 deserving teams into the NCAA tournament. San Diego State, North Carolina, also 2 deserving teams into the NCAA tournament. I believe that all 16 seeds should be play-in games. That should be the 4 play-in games, if you even want play-in games. I would personally say just skip the play-in games, but it's money and it's agreements and everything like that goes into it. So, of course, they're going to have the play-in games. They've been having them, so they're going to continue playing them. But Alabama State and St. Francis, American and Mount St. Mary's, those are the type of schools that deserve the play-in games. Give them an opportunity to play. Maybe one of them beats Auburn. Maybe one of them beats Duke. You never know. Maybe SIU Edwardsville beats Houston, or Norfolk State beats Florida. Never know. Wofford. I didn't even see that. They played Tennessee. I remember Wofford played Wisconsin in football. Got smoked. I was there. It was like 52-6 at like halftime. But anyway, Marquette, I think they could beat New Mexico. Looking at New Mexico's schedule, they lost to St. John's by 14. They beat UCLA back in November. They've actually had some high-scoring games. Like, okay, it's Western New Mexico. I get it. They beat them by 52, but they scored 122 in the game. They scored 100 against Fresno State. They played some tough games. They lost to Boise State 72-69 on Friday after beating San Jose State. But a lot of the teams that they play pretty close outside of Air Force beating them by 21. Lost to San Diego State. If you watch the game, they just lost to San Diego State. If you watch San Diego State last night, they just got smoked by UNC. So, does that compare? I don't know. Lost to Boise State again. They beat them almost by 20 earlier in the year, though, in January. So, Junior Joseph gets, 16, 17, 15, 18, 21 against Air Force. Well, Air Force must be no good. Let me look at them. Again, I like this. My mind goes all over the place. Let's see. Yeah, Air Force was 1-19 in the conference, 4-28. Yeah, they are off horrible, terrible. But regardless, oh, no, my screen doesn't want to turn. Okay, here it goes. I think that okay, here it is. I think outside of what was going on, Marquette's going to win. They have a 70.5% chance to win. They're favored by 3.5 points, which isn't much, but they are favored to win. Matchup predictor, according to ESPN Analytics, has a 70.5% chance. Just want to mention that. Money line is minus 170 for Marquette, plus 145 for New Mexico. I think Marquette has this. Plus, Marquette isn't a bad team. Cam Jones, Joplin, Ben Gold, when he is doing well, he's doing well. When Ben Gold is playing, he's playing. Actually, speaking of Ben Gold, let me pull this up so I'm actually speaking correctly when I'm talking about him here. So he's 6'11". He isn't listed as a center, but he's a forward. 6'11". It's not like a Lopez, but he is kind of like a Lopez, but he plays down low, but he doesn't, just shoot threes only, which Lopez has corrected out. Brooke Lopez has corrected that out, it seems like, recently. There's just more issues with them. But he's 37% from the three, so he does shoot threes. 7.3 points per game. However, recently, though, so in their loss to St. John's, he did nothing. Again, when you do nothing and don't shoot the ball, that's a problem. Against Xavier at 3 points. However, before that, in their overtime loss to St. John's, he had 13. In their win over Georgetown, he had 15. Against Providence, 17. And then against Seton Hall, he had 10. So, he was going through a rough patch before that 10-point game. He had 5 against DePaul, nothing against Creighton, 2, 0, 0, 8, 11, 5, 14, 2. But, he started to show that he could do some stuff. And if you get him involved to get him moving, it hopefully will allow I just forgot who his name was that fast. But it'll allow that guy from New Mexico, Junior Joseph, it'll allow him to hopefully limit his rebounds. Regardless of him rebounding out of this world against Marquette can score, and that's just what's going to happen. And I think Marquette's going to win. I'm sorry. To me, I would find it very difficult to find reasons why Marquette would not win compared to why they would win. Cam Jones is one of you could say, why would Marquette, you could ask somebody, why would Marquette win? Cam Jones. End the conversation. That it's valid. One of the best players in the league, or NCAA. But against Michigan State, they're not beating Michigan State. Tom Izzo in the tournament is a different beast. Tom Izzo is incredible. I watched Michigan State against Wisconsin a couple times, and like when they beat Michigan State, it was a very close game. But when they lost to them before, after Oregon and Washington games, then they lost to Michigan State. You saw what Michigan State could bring to the table. You saw what Michigan State has with Akins. With Akins, you saw what Richardson can do. You saw Jackson Kohler could do. Akins and Kohler are their top players. Carson Cooper actually could score for Michigan State. Michigan State has played against very, very good teams. They're very good just overall. And Tom Izzo has been coaching a long time. I mean, like, I remember him as a kid. I was young while Tom Izzo was still coaching Michigan State. So he has a ton of experience. He's drove them far. He knows what he's doing. And I just don't think Marquette has it in him. I would love Marquette to shock the shit out of me and win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm sorry. I don't. I would love to sit here and say, yeah, Marquette's going to go. It's not going to happen. Michigan State's going to be the end of the line. However, Wisconsin plays Montana. Know nothing about Montana. Couldn't tell you one player. Couldn't tell you how they played this year. Nothing. But they're a 14 seed, and because I know nothing, and I know that Wisconsin plays in the Big Ten, has played a lot of tough teams, was able to beat Michigan State, was able to almost beat Michigan, including horrible shooting efforts from both teams. I find it hard for Wisconsin to not. Is that what I have open? Oh, I actually pulled that open. Okay. Marquette has a 95% chance to win. So that's not really, why. They're favored by 16 and a half. It dropped. The money line is negative 2,500 for Wisconsin. So if you could find a reason how Montana will win, just drop it in the comments. You could drop it down there. But Montana plays Northern Colorado, Idaho, Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington, Portland State, Sacramento State. It's just, I'm sorry. They got creamed by Tennessee, demolished by Utah State. They played teams like Montana Tech, St. Thomas, Minnesota, Northwest Indian. It's literally the team name, it says. Hawaii Hilo. Like, come on now. They got demolished by Oregon 79-48. They're not gonna face Wisconsin. Actually give them worth anything, a battle or anything like that. So that's not even worth discussing. The Badgers are going to I think the Badgers are going to win by like 20. However, against Michigan now, back to that. Wisconsin shot 22% from the field and 17% from three. 7 of 39 from three and 15 of 68 from the field. And Michigan wasn't much better, but they were. 27.3% from three and 32% from the field. When you shoot that terrible and keep the game close all the way until the final, 2-3 minutes, especially when everyone's tired from both teams. You've played 4 straight games. It's the end of the line for the Big Ten tournament. It's for the championship game. You're still gutting it out. The final score at halftime was 23-21. At halftime, 23-21, their lowest outputs this year from both teams, I believe. That was an old school Wisconsin score right there, Big Ten score when they played really solid defense and didn't score a lot. But they also weren't pushing the pace. They were, playing slow ball, but they were really pushing the pace in this game. And the thing that I liked about both what both teams showed. And I'll give credit to Michigan, too, as they both were pushing the pace. You could see that they were tired, but they were still pushing the pace and still pushing it. John Blackwell had 18 points on 6 of 17 shooting. Klesmit was 2 of 10 from 3. Didn't fit the narrative with anyone else shooting threes, but he had 12. And those were the 2 double-digit scorers for Wisconsin. Michigan only had Vladislav Golden and Trey Donaldson with 11 points each, but nobody really shot the ball well from either team. Rebounding was 46 for Wisconsin and 40 for Michigan, but the offensive rebounds is really where the difference was, 15 for Wisconsin and 6 for Michigan. So, and actually Michigan took almost all game to even get to the line. I believe it was like somewhere in the second half where they actually made it to the free throw line. So Wisconsin was limiting shot fouls. They were limiting how many times they allowed Michigan to get to the line, to be in a position, where they were going to allow them to get to the line. Where did that go? Michigan did finish the game 12 of 13 from the line, though, but it took them a long time to get to the line. Anyway, Wisconsin has been a very, very good team this year. They have great players. John Tonje, John Blackwell, Stephen Crowell, Nolan Winter, Matt Klesmit. We saw when Klesmit was gone how much of an impact that he was out of the game. Kamari McGee, Xavier Amos. You have Jack Janicki, who every time he plays against good teams, Purdue, Arizona, he really steps up. And I think if you give him a little bit of an opportunity in this March Madness tournament, he will step up. So following path in the second round, I have VCU beating BYU. I really liked how VCU looked when I watched them before the Wisconsin game. BYU, I'm just not big on. I remember seeing BYU lose to let me actually look who that was. But I remember BYU was losing to somebody that they shouldn't have lost. Oh, that didn't pop up. I don't know if you could hear how fast I typed. Super fast. Let's see where it was. Well, they just got blown out by Houston, which is no problem. That's Houston. I believe it was that Iowa State game was one, but, they've played tough teams. TCU, I think that was where they lost. They lost to Utah, Cincinnati. Cincinnati really, really took it to them, actually. That might have been the game. But anyway, BYU I'm not super big on. I think that's going to be a close game, though. But VCU, I went with the upset, 11-6. Either team was Wisconsin faces, I think they could beat them. Wisconsin loves to push the pace. They can shoot if they're making their shots, especially if their threes are falling. They're very, very good. I think they're good. They would be able to beat most teams. I love how they push the pace. This is a different type of basketball that a lot of Wisconsin Badger fans haven't seen. And then the very tough game, and I don't know if maybe this is, very optimistic or not, but when they play Alabama, that is going to be very, 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 very tough. But Alabama has shown that they are beatable. Auburn showed that. Other teams have showed that as well, that Alabama is a beatable team. Let me see. I got to do a double click so you don't hear my super fast typing, the flash typing. But Alabama just got demolished by Florida by 22. Florida's a very good team as well. They were able to, they took it to Kentucky, though. But Auburn, they barely won. They lost to Florida again, lost to Tennessee, lost to Missouri. After they lost to Auburn in the 1-2 matchup, they did demolish Mississippi State, who was ranked. So Alabama's a very wishy-washy team. As of late, they've lost to Oregon and Purdue earlier in the year. They lost to Ole Miss as well. Every loss has been against ranked teams. They've also crushed ranked teams. So SEC is super good this year. I didn't even realize how good they were. 1 of 15, 17. Mississippi State's ranked. Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky. Auburn, Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Florida. Those all the teams ranked. Ole Miss ranked. Texas A&M ranked. Oklahoma ranked. I mean, that is a very, very, very tough conference. I don't know. That's going to be a very tough game. I think that is a little optimistic, but Wisconsin's going to have to play their A game to beat Alabama, especially since Alabama's played a ranked Purdue, Illinois, Houston, North Carolina, Oklahoma. I mean, they've played a lot of ranked teams. They've played a lot of very good teams. They've played a tough SEC schedule. I mean, just a tough SEC schedule. The worst team was 12-20. 2-16. Then LSU 3-15 on the conference. But I think Wisconsin can win that game. They play A+ basketball. They do everything right. They limit mistakes. They pull out and they win that game. Next game is going to be very, very tough against Duke. If Cooper Flagg's ankle injury is of any concern, I think Duke's going to run pretty much just cruise past Mississippi State, American, or Mount St. Mary's. I'm not sure who. Well, Mount St. Mary's is winning by 10 right now at halftime. But so let's say they play Mount St. Mary's, they're going to crush them. Mississippi State, Baylor winner, they're going to crush them. Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, or Akron, whoever comes out of there. I have Oregon versus Arizona with Arizona winning. However, it could be Akron going in there. It could be Liberty. It could be anybody. But I think they're going to cruise through that as well. So Duke's tough test is going to be against Wisconsin. And if Cooper Flagg's ankle injury, even against the rest of the competition, because I watched Duke demolish UNC without Flagg, and UNC demolished the team last night. So Duke's super, super good, and Cooper Flagg's very, very – he's number one pick this year. So, how does his ankle injury, how does his legs hold up and everything? And I'm going to bank on that. It's not 100% yet, and especially next week, Friday, for the Elite Eight. So I'm going to bank that it's not 100% yet, which is fine. I could be completely wrong, but I went with Wisconsin to upset Duke. And I personally really think that Wisconsin can, again, playing great basketball, shooting threes, doing everything that they've done this year that's made people happy, that's made the team happy, that's made Greg Gard happy, that's, they've limited turnovers. I've watched them play excellent basketball where they did nothing but make shots all game and push the tempo and force the other team to get out of rhythm. I watched them slow it down and be able to move the ball around and make good passes and score. I've watched them play a consistent game from top to bottom. I've watched John Tonji just take off. I watched Janicki against Arizona earlier in the year stand out. I watched him against Purdue score double digits in limited action. I watched Amos have important plays. I've watched this team play very well. I watched Nolan Winter get boards and score. I watched Klesmith just drop threes left and right. I've watched John Tonji score 30-plus points, averaged over almost 26 points in multiple games back to back to back. I've seen Stephen Crowell make big impact plays and be a big part of the team. I've seen John Blackwell take over games. I definitely think that Wisconsin can make it almost all the way. If they made it all the way and were in the national championship, I wouldn't be surprised. That's how good of a team Wisconsin truly is, especially when everything's clicking. Now, to get everything clicking is not always a guarantee, but Wisconsin is that good of a team that they can have everything clicking and they can make it there. And when it comes to the tournament, I've seen teams have everything clicking. UConn had everything clicking last year and the year before, and Wisconsin can definitely be in that same boat. You get breaks. So the first round is going to be Thursday and Friday. The second round is Saturday and Sunday, depending on which day you played. Then the Sweet 16 is Thursday and Friday. Yep, Thursday and Friday. And then the Elite Eight is Saturday and Sunday. the following week and stuff. And then you have a break from 3:30 to 4:05 for the Final Four, and then the championship is right away on that Monday night on 4/7. So, there are breaks in between. It's kind of more similar to a schedule during the regular season where you're not going to play back-to-back, but you'll have that Tuesday, Thursday game sometimes, or Tuesday, Friday games. This way, you're going to do a Thursday, Saturday. As far as Wisconsin, it's going to be a Thursday, Saturday, and then they're going to be a Saturday up to whatever the schedule is for the following, Sweet 16 game against Alabama. Or, they might play Vanderbilt. Maybe Vanderbilt upsets, or maybe Robert Morris surprises everyone, shocks the world, and makes it, to face Wisconsin. But anyway, my final four is Auburn, Wisconsin, Houston, and Florida. I know I went, wow, way out of bounds. I had 3 1 seeds. What? Jeez, can you? Sorry, dropped the paper. Geez, can you pick an upset or just pick the favorites? Yeah, well, I think these are good teams, and it's going to be hard to beat them. And Florida, especially, Auburn, and I really like Houston. I just have a very good feeling about Houston, especially after last year and the year before, watching them play very well and play it out. Then I have Auburn versus Houston, with the Auburn Tigers winning it all. So that's my bracket. Me and my family, me and my parents, at least, I don't have any siblings. So me and my parents, since I was a kid, we've done brackets as just us three. And then I've always done a bracket, usually outside of the family. I had a group of friends, just joking. But anyway, I had a group of friends in high school and middle school and elementary school. Wasn't so much elementary, but middle school definitely is when I started doing brackets with other people. I had a friend named Dylan who ran the brackets and everything for a long time. He even ran them after high school that I still participated in. And then, I was doing it with another buddy of mine the last couple of years through a league that he worked with people that he works with. However, this year, I don't think I'm going to be doing an outside bracket outside of the IE Sports Radio bracket that we're all doing. So I filled that out today, the same as this. I keep all my brackets the same across the board. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. But I'm not going to be rooting for 6 different teams. That's stupid. Like, well, I could have Wisconsin make the Final Four, but then I also have this one where Alabama makes it. But then I have Oregon that could beat it as well. That's what the hell. That's stupid to me. That's just dumb. So that's my bracket. I look forward to seeing how everyone's brackets turns out. I wish you all good luck with that. I did not do a sponsor cut at all in this show, apparently. So we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
How we doing, sports fans? This is Christian Harvey, your host of Gritsville, USA, your go-to show for all things Detroit and Michigan here on IE Sports Radio. Whether you're here for Gritty Lions talk, getting pumped up for the great Detroit sports renaissance, or hating on your neighbor depending on if they were green or blue, we got you covered. Whether you're in the East, West, or Central, we got you covered. Join me as we tackle through all that the great state of Michigan has to offer in the world of sports. Catch me, Christian Harvey, each week on Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Aaron Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of thunderous spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back to the Wisconsin Whistle, everyone. Again, I'm your host, Dan Dyhard, Vachalek. I'm almost at an hour. We're going over. I don't think I've actually made exactly an hour since I've been in, what is this, episode 11. I haven't actually cut it off at an hour. I think the longest I went was almost an hour and 45. I like to talk, as you could tell. I could probably do a show every single day for 2 hours and still have stuff to talk about every day. I want to jump into first, I'm going to talk about McCole Hardman was signed to a 1-year deal with the Packers, so they finally added a wide receiver. I'm not the biggest fan of adding him as the wide receiver, but he does add some depth. Nothing wrong with McCole Hardman. He has speed. He can help out. He hasn't had a whole lot of targets in the past couple of years. However, with Kansas City in 2021, he was a big part of that offense. He had 59 receptions, 2 touchdowns. The year before, he had 41 receptions on 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, in his rookie year, actually had 26 receptions, 6 touchdowns, made the Pro Bowl, second team AP. So, you know, he has talent. I don't think he's the guy who we were looking for at wide receiver for that room. I think he's just a nice depth piece. I also was talking with some people recently about the Packers' depth, and at corner they have absolutely no depth. So my opinion on Hobbs kind of changes a little bit. While I do think that there could be some problems with Hobbs, especially if you miss 1 out of every 4 tackles, I do think that just adding people is helpful. I would still trade Jair Alexander and get what you can for him. Also, I saw something interesting. This is the first year in the draft, which I will be not so much covering, but we'll preview the draft. I'll give you actually a full mock draft. It'll be an hour draft show before the draft. I'll discuss some other topics as well. Probably for 15, short. I'm not even going to put a time limit on it. You see, I don't care about time, so won't put a time limit on it, but definitely will be talking a lot of NFL draft with it being up in Green Bay, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from me. As a kid, I always wanted to get to the draft, and now that it's finally here in Wisconsin, I will not be going to the draft. I don't want to drive all the way up there on a Thursday or a Friday, or I just don't want to drive all the way up there and sit there all day. And then if I did drive all the way up there, I don't want to take – I'm sorry. I would love to go with my son and my daughter and my girl and stuff. I think everybody would like it and have, I'll have fun. My son will have fun. I don't know if my daughter or my fiance is going to have fun at all. But I would take them, but I don't really want to try to entertain a 2-year-old for 6 hours of first-round draft action. I don't want to try to entertain them for however long for the second and third rounds. And then again, for the 4th through 7th rounds, I don't want to entertain them through that because that's a lot of entertaining. I'd rather entertain them at home and watch it from my TV in the comfort of my living room, listen to the Pat McAfee show on Thursday. Anyway, off of that, maybe when my son gets older, we'll travel. Maybe I'll travel unless it comes back to Green Bay, but I'll travel and, get to a draft at least one day. Wait until he gets a little older, see if he's interested in going, and if he is, then I'll take him and take everybody. But back to McCole Hardman. He's not really the leader, the number one wide receiver that we were looking for in particular. However, because he does have Super Bowl experience, playoff experience, and playing with Patrick Mahomes, there's a lot of good things, good qualities, good leadership, good lessons that he could teach the wide receiver room, as well as he could teach Jordan Love on composure, on, as a safety outlet as well. He knows what goes into these games. He watches the games. Obviously, he's played at 12 of them with Patrick Mahomes just last year. He's played 75 games with Patrick Mahomes, has had 255 targets from Patrick Mahomes. He's caught 16 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. All of that matters. He has 26 rushing attempts for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns in his career. So, all of that does play a factor. When you play with Patrick Mahomes, you learn a lot of different things. When you have a player that already, I don't even know if Mahomes is 30 yet, but you have a player that's already, talked about with Tom Brady, who's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's not talked about with Peyton. He's not talked about with anyone. He is only talked about with Tom Brady, which is notable. So if you have a player that did make an impact with the guy who's talked about with Brady, or made an impact with Tom Brady, there's a lot of things that you can learn and that he could pass on. And I think even though he is a young guy, not super young, but he's 27, I think that there is a lot of things that he could pass on to Dobbs. He could pass on to Wicks. He could pass on to Reed. He could pass on to Bo Melton. He could pass on to the team, even Tucker Kraft, Jordan Love, Jordy Nelson. Geez. I said Jordy Nelson. He could pass to Jordan Love. There's a lot of things that you could take from him. And I think getting him on a 1-year deal is going to be helpful. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. So there's a lot to take from him. And I think more so than his impact on the field is going to be his impact on the sidelines, his impact in training, his impact in the wide receiver room, his impact week to week, in between weeks and stuff. And that, I think that's bigger than his impact on the field is going to be, at least for the first half of the year. So I do like the signing. Not the biggest fan, just because I think that they needed a better wide receiver, like a true number one and a leader at that. So I really would have loved Cooper Kupp coming here. DK Metcalf, I guess he wanted out because he wanted his contract negotiated now, not later. Seahawks don't do it now. They do it in midsummer, so there was no later for him. I would still be open to signing, Tyler Lockett. I'd be open to signing somebody else, but Cooper Kupp was my main guy who I really wanted, and Packers didn't get it done. He signed with the Seahawks, 3 years, $45 million. So McCall Hardman, not a bad signing, but not exactly what I was looking for. Also, real quick about the Brewers, I said Joey Ortiz is going to be the starting shortstop. That was named official in the past week. Also, Tobias Myers, he will be out probably until April, beginning of April. So he won't be on the starting rotation to start the season. Also of note, Jose Quintana will probably not run through the first rotation. He's still ramping up after signing late. He did say that he was working out before that, but again, that's different than actually playing, ramping up with the team. Brewers also have a lot of injuries. Aaron Ashby has a left oblique strain. Woodruff, he just faced batters in actual spring training game action recently. But he's still recovering, and I believe he will not be in the rotation. I actually think he might go on the IL to start the season. Robert Gasser won't be back until August or September, still recovering from Tommy John. Thomas Pannone, torn flexor tender. He's pretty much gone for a while. And then DL Hall, he has a latch strain, and he's sitting on the 60. So the starting rotation is likely going to be Freddie Peralta going out there. Nestor Cortez will probably get game 2. Maybe Aaron Savale might get game 2, but Nestor Cortez is going to get game 2 against the Yankees, so he will have a rebound game, or not a rebound, a revenge game against the New York Yankees after trading him for Devin Williams. Aaron Savale will probably go game 3. And then that's where, you got to figure out who do you want to start game 4 of the year. You have Tyler Alexander. He's kind of that swingman pitcher. He can do multi-inning relieves. He can make spot starts. He's definitely going to get some starts this year. He has 90 Ks and 107.2 innings pitched last season. He definitely throws strikes. He's known to leave pitches over the plate, though. That's kind of concerning. He did strike out 9 consecutive batters, though, in 2020. So that's noticeable, but that was also during COVID, so it's a little different. With the Rays in 24, he posted a 6-5 record with a 5.10 ERA. It was serviceable. He also can eat innings. So, I mean, he has some good qualities that he could hold on to for the beginning of the year. Logan Henderson, he hasn't made a major league debut, but he had, 2025 spring training, this year's spring training. He's only 23, but he's done pretty well, I'd say, a 4.15 ERA and 8 2/3 innings in spring training. Command's still a little bit little worrisome, but he can strike people out. He's got 10 Ks in 8 2/3, but he's walked 5. But he may be an option as well if you need somebody just to kind of push it off. Elvin Rodriguez is probably going to be the guy. The only problem is he's not been very good. He does have 7 Ks in 5 innings this spring training. However, 9 ERA, 2.2 WHIP. He's got a fastball, uses it almost 50% of the time. Also has a slider and changeup. Pat Murphy has spoken very highly of him, though, throughout spring training and camp. So, that's kind of a key. Your manager speaks highly of you. You should pay attention. If the manager speaks highly of a player who could be in position, he'll probably get the position. They also signed him to a 1-year deal in 2025 with a 26 option. So because he does have that 26 option, he's also more likely to get that, a starting slot in there. Also, just something to watch. I know it's very early. That could be a positive as well to this, but bullpen games, those are always big. That always is a possibility just because, why not? You have all season to rest. You have games to rest. Why not? So definitely something to keep watch. I know the Tokyo series started today and yesterday. This morning it was at 5:10 this morning. I was going to wake up and watch them. Yesterday I was going to wake up. I was awake yesterday. I just didn't watch it. And today I just blew right past it sleep-wise. Woke up at about 6:45, 7 o'clock. So that was that. I do want to cover some Bucks. So I'll take probably, maybe 10-ish minutes to talk about some Bucks. And then we'll break away for the end of today's show. But the Bucks have had a couple tough games. This is probably the toughest part of the schedule that they're going to face. They had the Cavs. Well, I'll start with the Magic because the Magic beat the Cavs recently to end their 15-game winning streak. But they lost to the Magic, then lost to the Cavs, which was not as close as 12 points, in my opinion, at least. I thought the Cavs really kind of ran away with that game a little bit. They lost to the Pacers in very, 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 very tough fashion. The Pacers didn't look good. The Bucks did not look good at all. For the Bucks to play as bad as they did, they were still in the game all the way to the final buzzer. So, there's a lot to take away from that. The Lakers were without LeBron, and they did win, however. They beat the Lakers by 20, and that was with Luka Doncic having 45 points. Just the Bucks shot almost 50% from the field. Giannis at 24, 12, and 9. Luka Doncic had 45 points and 11 rebounds, though. Austin Reeves had 28. Well, Brook Lopez had 23 points. Dame and Kevin Porter Jr. each had 22. Lillard had 10 assists. And that was, honestly, that really helped. That was the thing with Porter Jr. there that I will mention is he got 17 minutes of game action, was 5 of 7 from 3, 5 of 10 from the field, 7 of 7 from the line. He had 22 points, and that's only 17 minutes of action. In that game, despite it being a 20-point victory with a dominating third quarter for the Bucks, AJ Green played 21 minutes. He shot the ball twice, 2 assists, 2 steals, though, and 3 points. Why does he keep getting minutes like that? Don't know. However, against the Thunder, it's not the best stat to say, he got 19 points, so it was cut a little bit. Kevin Porter Jr. matched him. It seems like now they're matching each other. But the problem is Jericho Sims. That is where the Warriors game is going to come into effect. But Jericho Sims, I had no idea, but apparently in their win over the Pacers by 7 on Saturday on this weekend, Jericho Sims had torn a ligament in his thumb. He just recently had surgery. He's going to be out a month. Now, the problem with that is the Bucks don't have anybody else that can play down low outside of Lopez, Giannis, and I don't know, Kuzma, I guess. Kuzma isn't really typically down low consistently. Me and a couple people were looking up some players who could be down there. Frank Kaminsky's available, Jahlil Okafor, James Wiseman. There's some players that are good down there. Moses Brown, he's 7'2". Just put him down there. You're 7'2", you got some talent somewhere. At least you're just a big, huge body that's down there that could – you could do bare minimum. You could grab boards. Sims really doesn't have much of an offense, but he does play very good defense, and I like his aggressiveness. I like how he can move. He's kind of quick. He gets boards. So his loss is very impactful, especially with Bobby Portis still being out. Not sure how many games Bobby Portis has missed, but I got to believe we're close to halfway, if not around halfway. Also saw some other players that were available while I was looking for big men that were available in free agency. Thanasis is out there too. Just appease Giannis and grab him again. I know he doesn't do much, but at least there's a body down there, and you could not play Lopez 50 minutes a game. But Johnny Davis, he was an ex-Badger. He was picked 10th, and he's available. He's only 23. He's in free agency. He's available. That's always a possibility that I think they definitely should look at. All players around 25 and under are Johnny Davis, Hamidou Diallo, Jarrett Culver, Sharif Cooper, R.J. Hampton, Harry Giles, Killian Hayes. Definitely got to take a look out there. Jalen Lewis is still young. He's 19. Henry Ellenson is also a big, tall guy out there. That name sounds familiar, like he played in Wisconsin. I want to say he did. Actually, let me just look that up. Yeah, he played for Marquette from Rice Lake, Wisconsin. He went to Marquette. First round pick. Doesn't say he's with the team, but he's got 5 years of NBA experience. Throughout those 5 years, he's averaged 2.5 rebounds at 4.1 points in 9.5 minutes per game. Actually, I don't really think that he would be very advantageous because he hasn't played in the league since 2021. So he probably won't be of any importance at all on there. Well, let's see. Actually, he's been dominating for the Milwaukee Bucks G League team recently, so it looks like he's available. Yeah, it says he's currently averaging 19.3 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game while shooting 53.2% from the floor. And this article is from December 18th, 2024. So, I mean, if he's still in the G League, maybe call him up. At least you have a – it says in this article, over those last 3 contests, Ellenson is averaging 33 points and 13 rebounds while shooting 55% from 3. So just might as well add him on there. I didn't even know that he was still, in G League or playing for the Wisconsin Herd, but definitely should consider bringing him up because last night was completely unacceptable on how they played. The third quarter was good. They had a nice well, let me jump back. The first half, they started off at a snail pace. They didn't nobody could make a shot. They looked uninterested. They didn't look like they had any rhythm. They looked poor. They couldn't make shots. I think Kuzma started 1 for 6 or some. I mean, he started very, very poorly. Giannis didn't make a field goal for, I don't know, the first 7-8 minutes of the game. He played almost 39 minutes. But the other thing, too, is, while you do start off slow, there's time to rebound and time to get back in the game. I mean, you finished it off the first quarter only down 5. That's not a bad thing, especially them without Steph. Also, Doc challenged a call on Jimmy Butler. I know it's a joke that Jimmy Butler always goes to the line, but I'm kind of serious on this. Do not challenge a call involving Jimmy Butler, especially if he's on offense, because that call is definitely going to go Jimmy Butler's way. Anyway, Kuzma had 13 threes, only 2 made shots from the field. Actually, he went 2 of 3 from the field that were non-3-point shots. He finished with a Bucks high 22 points. Giannis had an off night. He was 10 of 15 from the line, though, which actually saved his night. But he was 5 of 16 from the field. He had 20 points. Dame did finish with 16 points. However, he went 2 of 9 from 3. I don't know what's been up with Dame shooting threes, though, but overall this year, or at least recently, his 3-point shooting just hasn't been there. And the thing, too, about it is when you have your star, Giannis, have a down night, you're not supposed to join him in the down night, especially as the other star. You should pick it up, pick up some slack. If one has a down night, the other should not have a down night. And if they both do have a down night, then you need Kuzma, Lopez, and some other players to pick it up. The other note that I wanted to mention, AJ Green and Kevin Porter Jr. played 15 minutes for Porter Jr. He had 2 points. He took 2 threes, 4 shots total. AJ Green, he had 2 free throws, made 1. You're supposed to be the sharpshooter. You only made 1 free throw, though. But you went 0 of 2 from 3, and those were your only 2 shots in 14 minutes. You had 2 fouls, a turnover. You did have a steal. You had 2 rebounds. But you had 1 point. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's time to just roll back on him. Also, if you're playing your starters, Taurean Prince, 32 minutes. Giannis, 39. Kuzma, 37. Lopez, 33. Dame, 38. Gary Trent Jr. had 26, 15-14 for them. Why don't you sit somebody for a little bit longer, especially if you see everybody's having a down night? Throw Andre Jackson Jr. in there. I don't know what he did. I don't know if what did he do to you, Doc Rivers? What did he do? Did he try to talk to your daughter? Did he try to hit on your wife? What happened here where, he's always a do not play? But the Bucks need to do something here because last night just looked terrible. They did come back in the third quarter. They seemed to play very, very well. They were on a roll from three in the third quarter. But they just finished it off crappy. They finished it off not very good. Draymond Green, he didn't shoot very well, but he had 10 boards. He had 4 blocks, 2 steals. He also made a mention that said, I should be the defensive player of the year. And if you want a reason, look at what I did last night. And that's very true. That's very true. From most of the game that I watched last night and then watching some today, watching a replay, more so hit or miss replay, but watched the game last night and stuff. Draymond Green played very well defensively. He locked in. He contained Giannis. He contained Kuzma. He contained anybody down low. He was able to out-muscle and out-rebound Brook Lopez, who only had 4 boards. Again, you're 7 feet tall. Draymond's 6'8", 6'9", 6'8", I think, maybe 6'7". Let me look that up. Draymond is actually 6'6", giving him way too much. And everyone lies when they tell their height, so maybe he's 6'5", 6'4". But give him 6'6". Got 10 boards on you guys. You have Giannis and Lopez playing most of the game. Kuzma's 6'9". He's 6'9". You're letting a 6'6" guy, older 6'6" guy, just outmuscle you guys all game. And Ryan Rollins, which is weird, he played 5 minutes. And then if you look at previous games before that, he played 4 against OKC, which is fine. I just throw the OKC game out the window because it's OKC. That team is going to win the cup, not the cup, the championship. OKC is dominant. Just the chemistry, just watching their team, how they flow. They know where everyone is. They know where each one's going to go. If one's going for the ball, they're all going for the ball. That is a whole team effort, their chemistry, their flow. That is a very good team. I mean, it's from top to bottom. Not only are they good at playing ball, not only are they good with Shea, not only, do they have pieces to their team that are good. Chet, Hartenstein, Caruso even. You got Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins. Outside Kendrick Williams. They were without Dort. They were without I can't think of his name. Not Williams. Let me look it up here. I can't think of his name. Jalen Williams. They were without Jalen Williams. They were without Dort, and they still took it to the Bucks. That game was honestly not, in my opinion, it wasn't close. OKC, though, flies. They fly around. They move. They had a Hartenstein have a cut dunk. Shea could go off. He had 31. Hartenstein had 24 and 12. That team flows. That team is very good. They shot 50%, 34 from 3. Bucks played a lot of players, but they just didn't look very good. They completely are on a different level than OKC. If OKC is that top level, the Bucks aren't even close to that. If OKC is what a national NBA champion looks like, Bucks are very, very far off. They don't even play together like how OKC does. Everybody is at the same pace. Everyone's on the same time zone. Everyone is doing everything at the same exact time. OKC is a very, very good team. So the fact that the Bucks lost, I'm not upset about. But against the Warriors, I am upset about. Everyone was just off. The Bucks also don't have the easiest schedule. They play the Lakers tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. So without LeBron again. So they should be able to repeat what they did the night before against the Lakers, what they did last Thursday. Then they play Sacramento and Phoenix, which should be some pretty easier games. A little light stretch there. Don't let your foot off the gas games though. Open your eyes, especially that those two games are going to be how you establish how your team looks, what you're going to do down low. Without Sims and without Portis, you got to figure something out. You can't play Lopez 35, 40 minutes a game. That might be what happens, but you can't. You got to up Porter Jr. numbers. You have to up his numbers. Throw Andre Jackson Jr. in there as well. Got to give some rest to the main starters. Giannis can go all game, so that's fine. Dame can play a while. That's cool. Kuzma can play a while as well. That's cool. Run with those three for most of the time. They're going to have to take on the bigger load as they're the big three right now. They're going to have to take on a bigger load with guys hurt, with guys suspended. Bobby Portis suspended. Sims hurt. They're going to have to take on that bigger load. Plus, they are taller guys. They can still rebound. They're not Lopez, who sits at the three. But Porter Jr., he could turn the game around. He's got a nice shot, got handles, could pass the ball. We saw him throw up a triple-double. We saw him go off with 22 points against the Lakers. We see him perform. He needs more minutes. Give him some more minutes. Also, you want to get somebody defensively who can move around, get some boards, more so of a board and assist guy, passer, rebounder defensively. Andre Jackson Jr. Get him in the lineup. You got a defender in there, maybe like a Draymond Green type of defender, not as physical, not as aggressive, not a shit talker, but Andre Jackson Jr. with UConn wasn't so much a scorer, but he did all the other stuff along with scoring. So those are all options that you need to look at, because then you have two tough games next Wednesday and next Friday against Denver and New York. Those are very tough games. Denver is a very good team. Also, Nikola Jokic, again, always an MVP candidate, a triple-double candidate, and that guy can take over a game by himself. He can shut people down by himself. So winning against them is going to be another key battle. The New York Knicks, the Bucks have had no success against Knicks, Celtics, or Cavs this year. Indiana, they've had a little bit of success, but the Cavs are in that boat. I'm not sure if Jalen Brunson's going to be available for that game next week. Again, that's a week and 2 days off, so we'll see. But this is the time where it's really going to be crunch time, because then it's Atlanta, Phoenix, Philly, Miami, New Orleans, Minnesota, New Orleans, and 2 games against Detroit to end the year. So this is definitely crunch time. You have to figure out what you're doing down low right now in the interim. Hopefully Sims is back by the playoffs. You're talking a month. That's right around that time. We're talking, today's March 19th. He went out March 17th or 18th to have that surgery. So April 17th, playoffs should be started around then. You should get him back. Portis should be back before the end of the season, maybe the last week or two, probably the last week of the season. So, establish him, get him back into rhythm quickly. You're going to need to establish all that. The bad thing is Sims is going to be coming back after Portis. I don't want Portis to take over Sims' minutes. I think that those two could pair together as well on the floor. So that's something to monitor as well, because you're going to go from having no big men, just Lopez and Giannis basically, and Kuzma I'll include because he's 6'9", 6'10", to having options, having Lopez, Sims, and Portis and Giannis, and trying to navigate those four into playing the forward, the 4 and the 5. So that's going to be tough, especially because when everyone should be back in line, it's going to be playoff time. I think that's going to be beneficial for the Bucks. However, they need to take care of business tomorrow night against the Lakers and just keep taking care of business. And they really need to figure out down low what's going on, who's going to get boards. They had 34 boards to 52 last night for Golden State. Golden State also, this is the thing too, Golden State had 18 turnovers. Bucks only had 9. However, did not capitalize on them. Golden State had 22 points conceded off turnovers. Bucks had 14. They had actually 10. But fast break points, Golden State had 18. Bucks had 9. Golden State did have more fouls, but Golden State shot the ball a lot better, especially from 3. Not even so much from 3. It's more from the free throw line. That was the biggest difference, 88.5%. 70.4% for the Bucks from the free throw line. Rebounding was the biggest key, especially defensive rebounds, where they out-rebounded them by 13. The Bucks only had 4 offensive rebounds last night. However, Golden State did do much better offensively, 9. But that was a big key to the game as well. And they limited turnovers overall, but just falling apart at the end of the game. And they really need to figure out what's going on down low, because Lopez is not the answer for a month. He's not going to be the answer of playing 38 minutes, almost 40 minutes a game. The Bucks are going to fall. They might fall pretty far. Right now, the Bucks are 5th. They're a half game back from Indiana and a half game in front of Detroit. Luckily, all 3 teams are 5-5 in the last 10. So we'll see how that goes. Golden State is hustling. They're going up, 8-2 in the last 10. Since Jimmy Butler has joined, they've played very, very, very well. Jimmy Butler did show, why Golden State has been playing very, very, very well. They have had what I've heard of a cupcake schedule. I don't believe that's possible in the NBA unless you just play Washington, Utah, New Orleans, and Charlotte consistently, and maybe Brooklyn. But as you saw, Brooklyn has beat the Bucks consistently this year, so won't even consider them. But a cupcake would be New Orleans, Utah, Washington, and Charlotte, and Philadelphia, especially with how they've been playing. So, hopefully the Bucks figure this out. I'm not really happy with Doc either. I am not the happiest with how Doc's been coaching, setting the lineups. I just haven't been the happiest with what Doc's been doing with coaching, and I think that really needs to improve for the Bucks to really make it far in the playoffs, get where they hope to. They need to figure out what's going on down low, maybe sign someone, maybe bring up Ellenson for the time being, especially if he's balling with the Herd. Bring him up. Baseball starting soon. March Madness is tomorrow. I look forward to seeing everybody's brackets. After the first set go around, everyone announces, this is my final 4. This is the champion who I picked. I'm looking forward to all of that. Good luck to everyone on their brackets. Any pools you enter, if you go down to the casino, or if you gamble online, always gamble safe. But good luck to everyone. Hope everyone does well. If you want to support the show, please look at that link below. Spreaker.com/podcast/the-Wisconsin-Whistle-6467408/support. Everything helps, everything counts. Hope everyone enjoys some first 4 games tonight, and March Madness starts tomorrow around 11:30. That's it for the Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.